Okay, I should be live now. How's it going, everyone? My name is Mitchell Mander, and welcome to my live stream. Today we're going to be talking about Pokemon Horizons episode 80. We're in Area 0 now, guys. Sango got a new Pokemon. Okay, so before we get started with everything here, just a quick disclaimer about kind of just what we do here. Just if you're someone that's new, you're coming across this for the first time, either you're coming across this while we're live or after the stream ends, just so you know, this is what we do here. I usually give it maybe 5 minutes for people to show up. Then around 5 to 10 minutes, I'll start giving my summary of the episode, my thoughts. I'll give it a rating. Then I give it to the chat, and then we basically talk for about an hour or so. And also I have a poll where you can vote for how you feel about the episode overall. And then we just talk about whatever from there. So if this is something you're interested in, I'd highly recommend that you subscribe to the channel, like the video stream. That really does help. Share it around. Sharing helps. Let's bring some more people in, and yeah. Also hit the notification bell because that also helps too. Anywho, yeah. Another thing that I also have to mention here is the music you hear in the background comes from a separate stream, the Video Game Study Lounge from Game Chops. It's basically video game remixes, lo-fi remixes, along with some original music here and there too. It's pretty cool, pretty chill if you can't tell already. I listen to it when I am just, chilling at home, working out, studying, reading. I'm at work, I need something to, distract me from the work day. So, just need to get some chill music in the background, so I usually put that on. So I have a link in the description for that, so if you want to check that out sometime, yeah, link's in the description. Anywho, we got 8 people here. What's up, y'all? Remember, just a reminder to hit that like button. Let's try to get to 10 likes by 30 minutes into the stream. Can we do that, guys? Anyways, it looks like Sharon's here. Pokefan's here. What's up, you two? I knew she was going to catch Screamtail. She nicknamed it Onigori. First stated that future Paradox Pokemon also exists. Yeah, she said that both future and past are down there. It's a mishmash of Scarlet and Violet. I was told the nickname translates to Demon Pudding. I don't know how true it is, but screw it, I'm using it. That's actually kind of funny. I like it. So yeah, if we got 8 people in here, remember to vote in the poll. We got 6 votes, so probably could get 2 more here. I think next we'll catch a Paradox Pokemon also. We'll see. I think for right now, Sango getting a Pokemon is enough for now. Sandwich and her dream pudding. Yep, love it. Or demon pudding too. Oh, I call it dream. Maybe Iron Hands. Iron Hands could possibly work. TT Jones. Hey, how's it going? Welcome in. I have a theory in next week's episode. Liko might be commanding Cap to dodge it to safety. You mean dodge to safety or charge it to safety? Not sure. You're good though. Maybe. We'll see. What's up, Thomas? Screamtail was the best capture in the series? I kind of like Watrow's capture, just because there was build-up to that, but this one was pretty good too. But I'll give my thoughts here in a moment. I want to see Sango use Screamtail in battle. She probably will. Probably surprise the kids at some point. Surprisingly, the episode had This episode has had major backlash because Roy didn't catch Sandy Shock, and he deserved it because they bonded. More on that in a little bit. But we're about 5 minutes in, and about 30 seconds I'll start summarizing the episode. It'll be a quick summary since this one's a pretty easy one to summarize. And he already has an electric type. True. He barely uses Kilowattrel. Well, at least Kilowattrel made an appearance here towards the end of the episode. But, hold that thought, because I'm going to start summarizing Pokemon Horizons episode 80. We arrive at Area 0. So, the main stars for this episode is Roy and Sango. Specifically Sango. Sango basically stole the show this episode. So we arrived at Area 0, we met up with Briar. We're kind of learning about Area 0. We learned that there are Paradox Pokemon both from the distant past and the distant future that are just hanging out down here. So we're just heading on down, and we got Sango and Onyx, and they are pursuing Liko and the others. Basically, they're just spying on them, and they're supposed to observe them and nothing else. But Sango doesn't care. She just wants to go and just cause chaos wherever she goes, because that's Sango. She's a little gremlin. But anyways, as they are pursuing Liko and the others, Roy ends up getting distracted, runs off, and ends up running into a Sandy Shock. And, yeah, gets chased off by it. Onyx and Sango almost get exposed here, but he runs right past them. He doesn't even notice them. And then Sango goes after Roy, but ends up getting separated and ends up running into Screamtail. So we kind of have the plot A and plot B going on here. Technically, there's like 3 plots because we're in Area 0. Liko and the others are heading down, but that's kind of like the minor part of this episode. The main parts is Roy versus Sandy Shocks, and then Sango meeting Screamtail, going up against the Great Tusk, and then eventually capturing Screamtail. But Roy, I'll get Roy's part out of the way really quickly. So Roy obviously ends up running into Sandy Shocks and gets chased off, and has to end up battling it. Which at first he's struggling, but eventually ends up overcoming it through song. And actually is pretty happy about his battle. You know, like they got the opportunity to meet and battle a Paradox Pokemon. Then him and Croclar end up going off and they're singing their song, and it's kind of interesting because Sandy Shocks here actually starts humming that tune as well. So I feel like there's some more to this. There's something more to this. I'll speculate here in a little bit, but we'll get to that here shortly. But going on to the main stars of this episode, Sango, and Screamtail. Yeah, the two of them, they work really well together. They have very similar personalities, which I thought was pretty interesting. So yeah, the perfect Pokemon for Sango. But anyways, as they're kind of just like, beefing with each other, Great Tusk comes out of the cave and starts battling them. And at first, they're kind of not on the same team, really, because they're, Sango's still making fun of Screamtail. There's one point where she's actually kind of mean to it, where it, gets blown back, and she just starts laughing at it. And then we have Glalie actually keeping up with Great Tusk, which was kind of interesting. That it was able to kind of match it up. Go toe-to-toe with it. Still, though, it was still pretty much not, finishing it off. And I thought it was pretty interesting that Screamtail ended up working together with Sango and ends up, screaming so that it could blow Glalie over to Great Tusk and self-destruct, which it successfully does. Unfortunately, it ends up coming back and ends up blowing everybody up, so Sango gets caught up in the explosion too. Sango and Screamtail. So, yeah, and as she kind of comes to, one of her Pokeballs falls out, and Screamtail starts screaming again, since they're still not on the best of terms. And she accidentally ends up catching it. Very unexpectedly. And she catches it. Obviously, after getting hit with self-destruct, it probably was weak enough for it anyway, so I guess you can justify that. So she literally caught it just to shut it up, pretty much. So yeah, Sango has Screamtail, and Onyx ends up catching up with her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I caught it, I guess." Meanwhile, back to the others, Roy ends up catching back up and actually talks about, "Oh yeah, I battled a Paradox Pokemon. It looks like a Magneton. It also has hair." I like Liko's reaction there, where she's just trying to picture a Magneton with like hair. I thought that was kind of funny. Anyways, we end up heading back, meeting up with Freed and Briar. They find a cave where they're just gonna stay for the night. So they camp out in there, and the episode ends with Screamtail just screaming and freaking out Liko, Roy, and Dot. So yeah. Anywho, overall, I thought this episode was actually a pretty good intro to Area Zero. Sango, being my favorite explorer, completely stole the show this episode. This episode was definitely a Sango-focused episode. And I gotta say, I was not expecting the explorers, besides like maybe like Amethio and maybe Spinel, to get like any major development. The admins I'm talking about. Gibby and I expect to get a little bit more insight on him maybe later on. More than we've already gotten, but I was only expecting like Amethio and Spinel to get some major developments. But I like the fact that Sango actually got some development here. Got a new Pokemon. So that was a welcome surprise. I will take it. Onyx could use some development too. Maybe Agate. And then Konya and Zerk, if they ever like do anything relevant, could use a little bit more. But I'm just glad that Sango got a lot of focus here. So that was good. That's probably the best part of this episode. Also, Roy versus Sandy Shocks was pretty cool. My current speculation right now, 3 things. This could go 3 different routes. Either A, this, Sandy Shocks, got inspired by Roy here, or, and ends up enjoying the song, and eventually, comes back to Roy later on before we leave Area Zero, and Roy ends up catching it. That's a possibility. Another possibility is that it just simply ends up, it ends up saving Roy at some point later on in this Area Zero arc or something. That's another possibility. Or the third possibility is it was just a character of the day Pokemon and we're never going to see it again. So those are my 3 conclusions for this. But I kind of took a note of that because I'm like, not only did Roy express gratitude for the battle, but that song actually, Sandy Shocks actually ended up enjoying that song. So I feel like there's got to be something more to it. It'd be a tad bit disappointing if it ends up just being a character of the day and we never see it again. So either it comes in to save Roy later on, or Roy possibly catches it. I don't know. I think there's a slight possibility that could happen. Currently, I got it at like a 30-40%, so still a pretty low possibility, but it's still a possibility, so we'll see. So I didn't think this was a bad episode at all. I don't think this is the best episode of Horizons by far, but like this was a good Sango and slightly Roy-focused episode as well. Obviously, the next week's episode is going to be focused on the kids going up against Gojin Fire. So, we're going to have that. So, yeah. This was the calm before the storm, really. So, I personally give this episode an 8 out of 10, in my opinion. I think this was a pretty solid episode overall. What did you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the chat, and remember to vote in that poll. Anywho, I'm gonna get caught back up on the chat since, haven't looked at the chat since the last time or before I started my summary here. Reminder to like the stream. And subscribe if you haven't already. Anyways, surprise. Okay. I mean, he already has an extra time. I've already read that. I'm between an 8 and 9. Gotcha. Barely uses kilowatt roll. I'll mention this really quickly. At the very end of the episode, you see the second Pokemon all just hanging out with the others, chilling, and as they're just eating, you know, as they're camping out there. That's good! Can we get more of that, please? That was the one thing that I liked in Sun and Moon. Even if the Pokemon weren't relevant to the plot of the episode, they were at least present. Make them present. Have stuff like that more often. Please and thanks, Horizon. Yeah, he has an electric type, which he doesn't even use, so I give him another. Plus, I don't want all 3 main characters to have legendary as Paradox Pokemon. Sandy Shock was such a weird Pokemon, I eventually just gave up and took a Flame Charge and Flamethrower to the face. Like, they just stood there and took it. How pathetic. Maybe it realized that Roy is actually a competent trainer, maybe. You want Screamtail to have Misty Explosion? After stream check anipoke in Discord, I made a meme about the self-destruct scene. Okay, I'll check it out in a little bit. Yo, what's up, Steven? How's it going? Think Liko will catch Iron Valiant or Roaring Moon? You think so? I'm under the impression that she probably won't catch another Pokemon here. But we'll see. Sango got a Pokemon, at least. Onyx needs development. Oh, the Dark Explorers and Metheo got the most development. I mean, he kind of has to. Sango getting development was nice. Onyx, we'll see. I wouldn't get your hopes up, but yeah. Honestly, I feel like people really took the singing bit out of context. People really got super butthurt he didn't get it and acted like toxic babies because Sango getting something, but doesn't. Why are people upset about that? Okay, I can understand being a tad bit disappointed that he didn't get Sandy Shocks, but like Sango literally getting Screamtail was quite a surprise. None of the other explorers have gotten any new Pokemon, so like this is a good thing. See, honestly, like I wouldn't engage with people that are being like super toxic about things. I just wouldn't deal with it, man. It's just kind of more like, oh hey, why are we getting so mad about this situation? We don't really need to get that upset, you know? Just gotta, you know, you can be disappointed, but like, yeah, I don't think it's, I think this is a good thing, honestly. And, you know, there's still a chance it could happen, too. It's gonna be real funny if he actually catches it. Still, I'm not sure. We'll see. Like I said, I have my 3 possibilities that I laid out that they could take with Sandy Shocks. I kind of feel like there's got to be something more, because it, like, bonding slightly with Roy here at the end, kind of, it feels like there's got to be a little bit more there. Even if he doesn't catch it, at least have it coming in, like, save Roy or something like that later on. Save him from what? I don't know. For next week's episode, will they get gouging fire, or in the episode after? They are having a tough time with gouging fire. They might. It's kind of hard to say. Yeah, it looks like they're kind of getting destroyed in that preview, so. But I think we can kind of just put the rest that it is definitely gouging fire and not Entei. It's pretty much like a done deal. There's not the, oh, there might be, the real Entei might be just hanging out here and it's protecting it. That theory is out of the water now. Yep. Tyrese, what's up? Oh yeah, it was just confirmed by a poster that Gouging Fire is a hero Pokemon. Yep. They decided to go the bait and switch route, and they kind of did it in a very poor fashion, in my opinion. In my opinion, the way they should have actually written this is they shouldn't have revealed Lucius's Pokemon so earlier on. And then they could have been like, you know, they would have based off his notes, he had an Entei or something like that. And then they come across Gouging Fire and they're like, oh, wait a second, you know, he may have thought this was an Entei, but this is clearly, you know, a Paradox Pokemon or something like that. You know, like there's ways they could have done this besides like, oh, it's Entei, it's Entei, it's Entei, it's Entei. They show the flashback, it's Entei. We get here, oh, it's actually Gouging Fire. So yeah. If they would have kept that unknown and been like, oh, based on his notebook, we think it's an Entei. See, that would have been better if they would have written it like that, because going this route was no. This kind of just feels like but actually it was this all along. I don't know. Not really good writing in my opinion when it comes to this specific plot point. You beat Gita but struggle here, yeah. Lucius's Pokemon are just on a different level, man. Isn't there a poster going around with all 3 starters fully evolved? I don't think so. There could be one that's like some merch or whatever, but I don't think there's a poster. If there was a poster, I would have made a video on it. Honestly, I'm just annoyed with that. They're really gonna need to explain why, because I'm not buying this one bit. That's exactly what I would have done. Yeah, there's gotta be like a more proper explanation to this. To be like, oh, you know, like, oh, that's it. But this Entei looks different than, you know, the Entei we saw in Johto. Yeah, because otherwise I'm just gonna be like, okay, yeah, that kind of, and the Horizon kind of loses a point for me just on that. I think Terrapagos made Entei transformed. I believe episode 82 they will be fighting Rayquaza. How would it make it transform though? Are you saying it like made it like almost like it threw it back in time? Because this is supposed to be Entei from like prehistoric age. It is possible that Gouging Fire is not Lucius's, but another decoy. Briar has a reputation for being unreliable. Well, my only counterpoint to that is that in the preview, Liko was like, oh, there's Entei, and Terrapagos is resonating with it. So that kind of tells me right there that Gouging Fire Entei is actually Gouging Fire. I mean, I don't know, man. I guess we'll just wait and to see what they say in the next week's episode, but that the preview is kind of suggesting that, so we'll take it one step at a time, I suppose. Paradox Pokemon are a different species of Pokemon, not regional variants. Yeah. Yes, and they're not like regional variants, but like it's basically okay. Paradox Pokemon, they're Pokemon that are like the ones in the past. They're prehistoric. These are like what the Pokemon were back in the day, or back millions of years. And then future Paradox Pokemon are Pokemon in the way distant future, like thousands, millions of years in the future, we'll just say. And it just shows that they've evolved over time. Kind of like how, you know, that works in real life, kind of. Just not the future stuff. 99% of the fandom, it's gouging fire. Stop complaining, the writing is bad and let us have this. Bad writing doesn't always mean bad story. Ugh. I can't, man. Yeah. What's up, Pocket Monsters, Liko and Roy's Adventure? How you doing? Welcome in. I wonder what episode 82 is going to be about. I'm not sure. My assumption currently is that we're going to be taking on Rayquaza then. I have decided that I'm going to wait until we get a summary for that episode before I actually talk about it. We only have 2 more episodes that we know of, so we probably will get some episode titles for February, probably either next week or the week after. So in the next 2 weeks we'll probably have something, so I'll finally have a new video out after having not done a video in almost a month now. But yeah, that's probably when I'm going to talk about it, because my problem is it's become really hard for me to make these discussion videos without summaries. And there's no point in doing a discussion video solely on just knowing next week's episode summary, just because, well, we kind of already know it's going to be them versus Gouging Fire, so not really much else to add there. They are literally going to go with the no one knows what a Gouging Fire is in the S episode, and they didn't call them Sandy Shocks or Screamtail, they just called them Magneton and Jigglypuff. That is true. We know from TPC they come from AU Dimensions, and Paradox Pokemon only recently showed up because of the Time Machine. Well, I kind of found it interesting that they kind of omitted that part, because like it looked like Briar was explaining everything to Freed, and was about ready to get into that, and they kind of walked off, and the kids were like, "Oh yeah, this is so great! Area Zero, so amazing!" So I'm like, man, I wanted to know a little bit more about kind of the anime's take on how they're there, whether it's similar to the games or not. I don't know. But like, they kind of were quiet on that. I found that to be kind of interesting. Do you think episode 82 will be the last episode in Area Zero or no? There's a good chance it will be. I don't know if we're going to come back here, so I'm kind of I want us to take as much time as we can. Because realistically, they couldn't have found any Paradox Pokemon 100 years ago because they don't exist in our world. True. Actually, you know what? That's a good point, Pokefan. That is a really good point. It would be really weird if the Gouging Fire was just like there. So I'm kind of wondering. Yeah, maybe there has to be an explanation then, if that's the case. Because if they only just recently appeared or whatever, that kind of creates a. That creates a little bit of that, what do you call it? Feels like a little retcon. Well, Briar did say Screamtail when the kids asked what the screaming was. That was probably the first time they knew about it. They actually didn't come across Screamtail, though. It's another thing to point out. Whereas Sango was the one that called it, oh, it's just a Jigglypuff. The big Jigglypuff. I think we will see Koraidon and Miraidon. You think so? Do you think that could be coming in episode 82? We need to see the future Paradox Pokemon like Iron Hand and Iron Valiant and Iron Moth. I think we'll probably see like some before we leave. They already teased some of them. Paradox, that's ironically the right word. Yo, Kevin, what's up? How you doing? Welcome in. Hope you're having a good day. Also, I'll just take the time to just remind people that we got 6 or 7 likes? 7 likes. Can we get... Oh, we didn't make it in the first half hour, but can we still get to 10 likes, guys? I'd appreciate it. Getting close. I'm so happy when I found out my girl Coral Sango caught Screamtail. I expect her to catch it. Interesting. I'm kind of surprised it happened, honestly. I wasn't really expecting that. So, the series doing something like that, I think that was a good thing. And one of the explorers besides a Metheo and probably Spinel getting development. That's good. Can we get more of it, please, and thanks? I think Paradox Pokemon will only be for Gen 9. I would assume so. Kind of seems that's the direction we go with Pokemon nowadays. They try to do something unique to those generations, for better or for worse. A Pokemon form could be for Gen 10. No clue. People were upset Roy didn't catch Sandy, which it wasn't going to happen. It kind of already an evolved Pokemon. Spinel already has a Magneton. I already presented earlier in the stream 3 scenarios that they could go with it, because I feel like there's got to be a little bit more, because I'm kind of hopeful that like it doesn't go the route of it being, you know, a character of the day kind of thing. Because I like the fact that it actually started humming Roy's song at the end, so I kind of felt like maybe there's something more there. Maybe it saves it in a critical moment towards the end of this Area Zero arc. That'd be cool. Catching it is also a slight possibility, but I'm currently putting it at like a 30%. Maybe 40, we'll see. I just... be a little bit of a shame if it just ended up being just a character of the day kind of thing and it just never shows up again. Guess we'll see what happens. Do you think they would do Pokemon Fusion as a gimmick? I mean, they kind of already dabbled with that, didn't they? In Black and White 2, and then Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. You know, Solgaleo, Lunala, Necrozma Fusion kind of thing. And they kind of did it in Black and White 2. Build the legendaries for that one. Box legendaries. Ash Greninja got erased from the anime. Not really, though. I mean, they didn't really show it off in the series that shall not be named, but yeah. But yeah, not really interested in that whole debacle, because I know that was a whole big point of contention in the prior series, so yeah. Anywho, I'm trying to think about what else to add because I don't have much else on this episode, and you already know my take on next week. Yeah, you're good. This is kind of more of like a, again, this is a calm before the storm, and we don't really know anything beyond, really, next week's episode. The episode that we have for the end of this month, we can kind of maybe assume that Rayquaza is going to show up there, but we just don't know for sure. I think there's going to be at least like 8 or 9 more episodes in this arc beyond this week, so they'll take us through this month, next month, and then partway through March, if not all through March. And then we probably have another break, and then we'll do Arc 5. But, yeah, we don't really know anything beyond these 2 episodes. So right now, it's kind of like, okay, what's going to happen next kind of thing. We do know Rayquaza is going to show up, and that's about the extent of what we know right now. Like, what is Sango and Onyx going to do towards the end here? We're going to see Screamtail in action against the kids or whatnot. Guess we'll find out soon. Do you think they would ever introduce 3-type Pokemon? I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that could be problematic, honestly. If they did 3-type, they would have to really kind of re-innovate the whole like typing system to kind of work around that. But, we'll see what they decide to do in the future. For now, I think max 2 types, I think, is fine. Gonna be annoying when everyone says the kids are fake frauds and aren't worthy once more. Yeah, I wouldn't. I just ignore the people that are gonna say that when they kind of struggle against gouging fire. I am kind of afraid Roy's just going to catch Rayquaza as his last Pokemon in this gen. Would also be okay if Roy just traded his Kilowattrel. It hasn't learned a new move since episode 17. I kind of doubt that he'd ever trade his Pokemon. I just can't see something like that happening here. I think the biggest biggest possibility for me is probably going to be Terapagos leaving at the end. It's probably the biggest possibility I see happening, but who knows? I don't know. I can't predict the future. I am kind of afraid Roy's just going to catch Rayquaza as his last... Okay, sorry, I read that already. I'm tired. We technically do have 3-type Pokemon. If the dual Pokemon Terras... They not only get a new type, but they also keep their original stat bonus. So kinda, yeah. Maybe we can see Roaring Bolt and Walking Wake. Guess we'll see. Sango catches Screamtail. Writer. Second Mon Syndrome incoming. Oof. Ooh. Well, you know what? Sango at least has some options now. Because if she self-destructs Glalie... Sorry, I couldn't spit its name out for some reason. If she, self-destructs Glalie, then, she loses the battle then. But now that she has Screamtail, she can just whip it out and be like... Hey, what are you going to do now? I just took out your Pokemon. Now I got this other one. Here, what are you going to do? I win. I feel like that would be a funny moment. I feel like the writers gave Kilowattrel to Roy as a ride Pokemon, like Charizard is Freed's ride Pokemon. Yeah, but he doesn't really use it a ton as a ride Pokemon, though, just in certain situations. Kilowattrel has not gotten a new move since episode 17. Yeah, that's bad. actually, do something with it eventually. Please and thanks. Maybe. Do you think a Pokemon gimmick like armored Pokemon could be a thing? I don't know. Maybe. I feel now that Coral Sango has Screamtail, it would be cool if they haven't. If have Aerodactyl and Screamtail team up. Oh, you mean like Onyx's Screamtail? Or Sidon, or whatever his name is in the dub? Because I kind of forgot that he has that. He never uses it in battle, really. A ton. So yeah, technically he already has 2 Pokemon. So they both have 2 Pokemon. Surprised we didn't see Sango Terra Glalie this episode. Oof. Maybe next time. Also, I want the kids to terrestrialize their secondary Pokemon. I've literally been saying that forever. That's one of my things I wanted to see in this arc, but it's kind of starting to look kind of bleak there. Looking very unlikely at this point. Hopefully I'm wrong, but, one can hope, right? Speaking of Aerodactyl, watch Onyx get a Mega Device and Mega Evolve it. What if? Sidon Onyx has an Aerodactyl. Yep. Sango gets a Mega Glalie. I do think that, like, Megas, it's kind of more, like, at this point, wishful thinking, but, if ZA is going to be incorporated at some point in Horizons, then maybe. I just don't know. We don't even know when ZA is coming out. We'll probably know next month when we get a release date. And we know that Switch 2 is on the Horizons as well, so this is definitely probably Pokemon's swan song on Switch. And then Gen 10 can come out next year, hopefully. On Switch 2 would be the hope. Not this year, next year. And hopefully it is good this time. Please and thanks. Do you think the crew is going to get Gouging Fire in one episode? There's a chance. It could be split off into another episode. Who knows? I don't have a summary for episode 82. So, kind of hard to say. Guess we'll find out soon enough. Wait! 3 of the Explorer admins have Pokemon who can Mega. They announced ZA and they had Zygarde in the anime. Oh crap, the writers were smart. They knew... It was all according to the plan. I think Legends ZA will be incorporated in the anime. I'm gonna kind of be... I'm not trying to, like, downplay that or anything, but, like... They could incorporate it, or they could do something similar to what the series that shall not be named did and do, like, a bunch of specials. And ultimately, it didn't really do a whole lot to represent Legends Arceus. I mean, if we're being completely honest. There was like a little bit, there was like crumbs here and there, but yeah, they didn't really do anything major with it. What my expectation was they'd actually, somehow transport to the past. And then boom. But they didn't do that. So that's why I'm a little bit unsure. Like I said, not trying to downplay it. Hopefully they actually do this time around. But, hey, we'll see what happens. I'm just kind of I kind of go into a little skepticism considering what happened with Legends Arceus and its incorporation in the anime, which was barely much, and it was not even part of the main canon of the series too. So yeah, there's that as well. I want an episode here. The 3 starter Pokemon get sick, and the 3 secondary Pokemon have to work together to find medicine. That would be cool. Kind of as a side episode or something like that. Mega Zygarde. I'm expecting an episode where the kid starter Pokemon get infected by Recruiting and attack their trainers. Yeah, probably they might. That could happen, and then they have to like break them out of it or something, or Terrapagos has to heal them. Excuse me. I can actually press buttons here. Okay, where was I? Do you think Sango's Glalie will have the Ice Terra type, or normal to power up self-destruct? You know, that is a good point. I never thought about that. Do we even know what her... it's been a minute since I've seen the previous arc. What was her Terra type again? I guess I can Bulbapedia it. Let's do that right now. Sango Coral. Has she even used Terra that we know of? I don't recall. So for some reason, I was gonna say I don't think she did. Okay, thank you, Pokefan. Because I'm like, wait a second. You're making me think here. I'm like, I don't think she did. I think Onyx did, but Sango, I just didn't remember that. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it would be a nice self-destruct would be kind of interesting. They literally just went. Let's bring back an evil team who is irrelevant as heck, and have them finish what they started while pretending to be a PLA arc. Yeah. Yeah. I thought that I thought it was okay overall, but like I'm just sitting here, I'm like, you know, I kind of wanted, you know, more, because I didn't really do anything with like Legends Arceus. Like they like show like, oh, these Pokemon are from the past, they don't exist anymore. And we never get to see them really like actually in the present, so it's just like, oh, okay, cool, I guess. I mean, it had a pretty good ending, I'd say, you know, but like when it comes to like adaptation, I'd say it's pretty weak. There's a lot to be desired with it, so that's why I just understand. That's kind of why I'm a little bit skeptical that they're gonna do the same with ZA. They could actually learn a lesson here and, you know, maybe represent it better, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess you gotta hope for the best, right? I'm saying I wanted the 6 starter thing here for ages. It just works. Yep. I think Screamtail should have Play Rough, Misty Terrain, and Misty Explosion. Guess we'll see what its moveset fully is in time. How many times have I said they should get toxic poison and the second month have to find an antidote? You've said it a couple times, so yeah, I think we need that. We need that episode now. Alright, Pokefan, get in contact with the writers. Slip this over to them, be like, hey, do this. Please and thanks. Alongside having Crunch. Nope. Onyx has Rock Terra. Yep, that's what I thought. It's honestly a possibility to get an episode like that, considering Hatteram is like a healer. Yep. I would like it. Horizons has had better representation of Legends Arceus. Kinda. I mean, we had Hisui and Growlithe. We never got an explanation as to why it, like, exists. That's why, like, Dot was like, what? This Pokemon's extinct. How do you have it? And she's like, oh, yeah. Isn't that neat? Anyways. I'm like, okay, the series is not even taking itself seriously in that moment. They didn't really spend tons of time in Kitakami either. I feel like we'll get 5-7 episodes in Kalos, if we do. Yeah, we were only in Johto for like 2-3 episodes, man. So, like, you know, okay, we started out in Kanto. We've been to Paldea for the majority of the series. Went to Galar for a little bit, like 10, like, what was it, like, what? 15 episodes or something like that. I have to go back and look. Or close to. And then we had Johto for like a very brief little bit of time. We were in Kitakami not very long either, so we've had a little bit. We still got several regions we need to do. If I do Blueberry Academy, that might be the extent of Unova. No Sinnoh, no Hoenn. No Kalos currently. No Alola. Guess we'll see if they ever decide to tackle those regions, which is kind of looking a little bit unlikely in for some of them. But who knows? Like, we need to see Kieran. Also Blood Moon Ursaluna. We'll see about Blood Moon Ursaluna. I don't know how they're going to handle it, if they even bring it into the series, but we'll see. Kieran would be Blueberry Academy. We don't see Kieran, I'm going to cry in the shower and eat ice cream. That's how I feel with Arven not being involved in this Area Zero arc. I have an idea for a video. I haven't decided if I'm going to actually make it or not, but I got a little funny video that I might make on the side here. A thing I did not like about Journeys, or the series that shall not be named, we should preface that, was how much Kanto representation there was. I'm just gonna say this. I think I've said it before, but like, I think that we shouldn't have been based in Vermilion City. We should have been based like in Galar somewhere. Like, they could have done the same thing, but like Professor Sakuragi and his family, they could have been just getting Galar or something like that, and we could have just started off there, you know? Problem solved. Then you could go back to Kanto for like an episode or something, you know. That's how it should have been, but whatever. Anywho, so do you think we'll get new episode titles next week? There is a possibility it's going to be either next week or the week after. Sometimes it's like the very end of the month. But usually you might get like maybe an episode or two. Typically the beginning of the month, like the first week, there usually is episode titles that are dropped. And several of them. Things have kind of changed as of late, though, because, like, as you can tell, probably the last, like, few months, the titles and summaries have kind of slowed down. They aren't really putting out summaries as much as they used to. So it's kind of making my job a little bit harder, if you know what I mean. Kind of, you know, not a good thing for the channel when I can't really make a proper discussion video on it. When I'm just sitting here, I'm like, okay, I gotta, you know, come up with what I think is gonna happen based off of the title alone. Kind of makes it difficult for me, you know. So yeah, I would expect titles soon. We're down to just 2 episodes that we know of. So if it's not next week, it'll be the week after that. And then we'll probably get more context going into February. It's like, give other regions their time to shine. Like, they know Kanto is nostalgic, but I mean, still, that's kind of my problem with Pokemon, honestly, for like the last decade. They've been doing this like pretty much like every gen. They're like, hey guys, do you remember Kanto? Isn't Kanto great? You know, it's where like everything started in 1996. You remember Kanto? You remember Pikachu? You remember Charmander? You remember Mewtwo? You remember all these Pokemon? You remember Eevee? You remember Vermilion City? You remember the Pokemon League? You remember all this stuff? Let's just remind you about it all the time. Oh yeah, by the way, here's some special forms for the the starters for Gen 1 for the Kantomons. Hey, what about like the Johtomons? Oh, who? You want more Charizard? Okay, we'll give you more Charizard. Here's 2 Mega forms for it. Oh, you want more? Hey, let's give them Gigantamax forms. Yeah, that's kind of that is a slight problem I've had with Pokemon for like a long time now. Is they've kind of been doing this. They like to be very nostalgic with Kanto, like a lot. I mean, they're not the only series that does this. Sonic has that problem with Green Hill Zone, but I just think it's a little bit more emphasized with Pokemon because it's like every gen they do something. Anyways, moving on. Just makes an AMV with Arven, and it plays the "It's Been a Long Day, Aren't You My Friend" song. It's funny. Like, how about Professor Sada and Turo? Like, we should see them in their AI form. I'm a little bit skeptical they're gonna do that at this point, since they're not a main focus here. I mean, sure, we have the Paradox Pokemon here, but I'm kind of a little bit unsure if they're going to like do anything with them. Like, if they're going to do more with Arven, sure, they could go that route, but it's kind of hard to see because like I'm in my mind, I'm like, how does like introducing them, how is that going to affect the plot or like move the plot forward? You know what I mean? Like I'm not like against them showing up in the series, but I'm a little bit like, okay, like how do we implement them? You know. Besides maybe like a flashback or something like that. So that's kind of where I'm a little bit torn there. Who knows? Koraidon and Miraidon I do feel should at least show up at some point. I just don't know how it would fit in. Because Terapagos is like the main focus Pokemon here. So, I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe they'll surprise us, like they do from time to time. Exactly. There was no need to create a Pokemon lab in Kanto. We should have had a lab with Sonia. Jesse would have kept Choodle. Yeah. That was another missed opportunity. Like, Morpeko was kind of cool when it got caught, but it just was annoying. Like, Unova does not get much love, or Johto. At least we got Blueberry Academy, though I'm kind of in the opinion, like, even though, like, Kitakami is nice and Blueberry Academy is nice, I kind of felt like the DLC should have been expansions of Paldea specifically. Kind of like how the DLC in Sword and Shield was expansions for Galar. So that's kind of like one mild disappointment with the DLC that I had. There's some other disappointments I have, or things I didn't really care for, but that's one thing that's I'm like, we could have gotten more for Paldea. I mean, there's that top right corner, and we don't know what's going on up there. But oh well, game's busted anyways. Probably go up there and you probably fall through the map. Like, Unova does not get much... Oh, yeah, I already read that, sorry. Paldea looks... kind of took a lot from inspiration from Johto. Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I mean, Arven has not gotten anything in this series. Like, do something with his Mabostiff and his parents. Yeah, I don't know what the plan is with Arven. That's why I'm a little bit concerned, because I'm like... This would have been like, I felt like this was the opportunity to bring Arven in, you know, in a more prominent role, but he's not here, so I'm just like, ugh. We didn't go to Area Zero with Nemona, Penny, or Arven like in the game, so I'm just like, oh man. So, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe I should go ahead and make that joke video, and I'm gonna laugh if I make that joke video about Arven, and like he gets revealed to be showing up in like the next few episodes. If that happens, I'm gonna go and make a post and be like, yeah, this video aged like milk that you bought on the day before expiration. Full theory that I obviously don't believe would happen. The AI professors are robots made by Spinel to destroy the rival tacklers and steal Trapagos and their heroes. Oh my gosh. That... Yeah. That would be crazy. Like, Nemona got the most of the friend group. Yeah. Even then, she didn't get like a ton either. She got a little bit here and there, but... You know, Penny got some slight bits, but yeah. Arven's got the least, which kind of shocks me because he's probably the best like developed character among the three in the games. It's like the one character that I really like. I've said that I'm not a big fan of Scarlet and Violet, but if there's one thing I can defend about those games, it's Arven. Probably my favorite character since End. I adored Mopeku, but it needed more development after capture. It needed a spot in the motto. I preferred it over Mime Jr. I don't know. I'm kind of just like more Peko. It had like a nice capture episode, but then after that, I just felt like it was just there to just be a nuisance, and it just didn't really do anything meaningful. It just kind of just got in the way most of the time, and I got to that point where I'm just like, I got done with the series. I'm like, I don't care about this Pokemon, you know. Yeah, actually, if you gotta go outbound, it's nothing but glitched empty map. Yeah, that sounds about right. Hopefully with Switch 2 being a more powerful console, performance will be, you know, not a thing that happens with Gen 10. That's like my one big hope with Switch 2 is that like the performance is much better, because there's a lot of games that I would like on Switch 2 or Switch that couldn't just come over just because they just couldn't support it. So hopefully Switch 2 is as powerful as the rumors say it is. That's a good thing. It will help the performance a lot. Like nothing with Penny and Team Star. I don't expect Team Star at this point, honestly. It would be kind of random if Team Star actually appeared at this point. Like, I'd be like, okay, like, what's the point? Like, the only thing I could see is, like, being, like, a test or something. Penny, like, decides to test, like, Liko, Roy, and Dot or something like that. She pulls out her friends in Team Star, and they have to battle them or something. I don't know. But I don't know how that would fit at this point, you know? The series is obviously vastly different than the games, so I don't know. My favorite companion of James was his Chimiko. I know it didn't get a ton of screen time, but it made a big impression for me. Gotcha. Like the Team Rock Gotcha machine was done. Well, yeah, we know that. It was cool in concept, but after a while, I was like, oh, this kind of, you know, takes the charm out of things. So it's like, yeah, they get like a random Pokemon. Sometimes they'll get a really strong one, and sometimes they'll get like weak ones. But like, yeah, I was never a big fan. If you go back and watch my Journeys review, you could tell that I just was not keen on the gacha machine. I'm hearing rumors of Gen 10 will still be on the original Switch. I wouldn't buy it yet, because it's coming from a certain leaker that literally pretty much has been wrong about a lot of stuff. So I would probably take it with a grain of salt at this point, Sharon. If it's who I'm thinking it is. Because he recently got called out for basically like stealing leaks and just getting a lot of stuff wrong. So I kind of don't really buy that Gen 10 is going to be on the original Switch at the moment. They literally... It is Game Freak's best interest to put this on Switch 2. Even if Switch 2 is going to have a low install base in the beginning. I mean, the Pokemon Company rushes out these games. That's why they're buggy and glitchy mess. That's why I've been on the whole side of we need to get out of this 3-year cycle. Because the 3-year cycle is just... It is, like, effectively harming the quality of Pokemon. It's been like this for a while, but it's been very apparent during the Switch era. Especially now that we're, you know, moving up to consoles rather than handhelds. Even though Switch is, you know, hybrid console handheld. But, like, yeah, it's kind of catching up to them, and it's like it's getting to that point where it's like, okay, we need more development time for these games. Otherwise, you know, they might. I mean, not might. They will sell well. It's just Pokemon. It's going to sell well, but like, it's going to keep this like its reputation is going to sour over time, and I don't want that to happen. That's why I'm hoping Gen 10 on Switch 2, you know, takes the lessons that we've learned from the previous 2 generations and, you know, makes, you know, actual, like, you know, games that function correctly at launch, you know, have a good, you know, system in place, you know, actually, you know, feels unique, you know. I mean, each gen tries something different, but, like, Legends Arceus and probably ZA feel like an actual innovation for the series, so I kind of want to see that for the actual like main series, like or not main series game. Like Legends is technically main series, but like the actual like main series, if that makes sense. I feel like Gen 10, there's a lot hinging on it, but yeah, the bottom line is Pokemon's been stuck in this 3-year cycle for a long time, and they desperately need to get out of it. Because, yeah, it's not like back in the day when it was on handheld and, you know, graphics and stuff like that was a lot smaller scale. You know, things are bigger now, so... And honestly, if they're having problems, like with Scarlet and Violet, they should have been delayed. I know they would have missed the holiday, you know, season, you know, the holiday, you know, sales potential. But, like, dude, if they delayed that and fixed all the problems, the reception would have been better. But, yeah. I mean, look, Legends Arceus released in January, and it still sold relatively well. So I don't think, you know, Pokemon releasing outside of the holiday season would have been a problem. Then again, the only problem they would have had is they would have conflicted because they would have had that and Tears of the Kingdom coming out in the same vicinity, and Nintendo probably didn't want them, you know, colliding with one another. They both still sold, like, insanely well, but yeah. I mean, look at Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch. Those are beautiful looking games and are not like that. Exactly. Actually good looking games, and even then, like Breath of the Wild, when it first came out, it had some FPS issues, but that got fixed relatively fast. Whereas, unfortunately, in Scarlet and Violet, they didn't really do much to fix the problems that happened. That's why I'm hoping with Gen 10 they've learned their lessons and, you know, learn from their mistakes and, you know, redeem themselves and make a, you know, functioning game that, you know, has a good reception and stuff. So we'll see. Should we be able to play Switch games on the regular Switch, or do we have to buy the Switch 2 to use our games? If it's Switch 2, like if it's Switch 2 games, then you have to have a Switch 2. But Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible with most Switch games, so yeah. I do worry that like people are going to look at the Switch 2 and they're going to see it like kind of similar to the Wii U. I think it's better than the Wii U because Wii U, they didn't really do a good job kind of marketing it as a separate console, whereas they're trying to do that, you know, differently with Switch 2. I do get the feeling that some people might not actually upgrade to Switch 2. That's like my one fear. I got a feeling that Switch 2 is probably not going to be as successful as Switch 1. I mean, I think it's still going to do very well, but I think it might be like a DS 3DS situation where like the DS is like one of the best-selling video game like handhelds or consoles of all time. And then you go to 3DS, which is, you know, more powerful and stuff like that, but like it sells like half as well. Still, like 70 plus million is still good. It's just not Nintendo DS good, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm afraid we're going to be in that scenario. So we'll see what happens. But I feel like if we're going to get like new Mario and new Pokemon and new Mario Kart and stuff like that, I still think Switch 2 is still going to do well. So we'll see. Bring back the spin-offs like Coliseum and Poke Park. I would like Coliseum. That'd be cool. I think the Pokemon Company needs another game publisher. Get rid of Game Freak. I don't think Game Freak's necessarily the problem, Sharon. I do think Game Freak probably needs some more assistance with the games. Kind of like how like Monolith Software actually helped out with Breath of the Wild. It'd be cool if like they got some assistance. Kind of similar in a similar fashion. But like I just think the problem is it's the Pokemon Company, not so much Game Freak. Putting these games on a 3-year cycle is the problem. That's why I think my criticism is more so towards like the people at the top, because the people at the top of the company are kind of calling the shots. So they need to, you know, give the series, you know, time to breathe and get out of this 3-year cycle, so that, you know, we don't get we don't have what happened with these last 2 gens happen, especially Scarlet and Violet. Sorry if this is kind of veered off into me kind of ranting about the state of Pokemon these days, but, you know, gotta get these things off your chest sometimes. But I'd say the solution would be not to get rid of Game Freak. I'd say just, like, maybe get some assistance. And the Pokemon Company, please, 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 you know, don't make these gotta get out of this 3-year cycle. I know moving it to like a 4-year cycle might make, you know, some people a little unhappy, but like I feel like for quality's sake, I think it's for the best. I'm stuck on anything else to say. Honestly, you're good, Poke fan. If you want to just chill, you can chill. If you wanna, you know, you can do whatever you want, man. Like, not even Mario gets a new game every year. A lot of stuff that we got on Switch was a lot of, like, remasters, too. Or remakes for Mario. Main game was Mario Odyssey, but, like, you know, New Super Mario Bros. U, that's just a port from Wii U. 3D World technically is a port, but there's, like, part new game in it because of Bowser's Fury. Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, that's basically a remaster. Mario RPG is a remake of the original. And technically I think that was more so handled by Square, but... So... Mario Wonder was like the newest Mario game, really. I'm praying they make the new Pokemon games playable on both devices. You mean like release of 2 versions? They could, but it'd be kind of a little bit. I feel a little bit harder for Pokemon compared to like something like Zelda, because like you're basically having like, you know, one version or like 2 versions of the game, and then you're releasing 2 versions of the game on the, you know, Switch 2. So I feel like it might be a little complicated for Pokemon in Pokemon's case. Like, people say the Pokemon games went downhill starting with Gen 6. Like, Gen 4 and 5 was peak. That's kind of where I'm at, personally. I'm not trying to say the games are just necessarily bad. I just don't think they've been up to the same standards of, like, some of the older ones. Even though some of the older gens have their share of issues, too. But, yeah. Well, if I can do whatever I want, I guess I'm going to walk into a store and take whatever I want. Okay, Pokefan, let's not make some bad decisions here. Be good. Obey the law. We had Princess Peach Showtime, that is true. I'm gonna go eat lunch. Alright, Pokefan, well, enjoy your lunch. Hope you have a good rest of the day. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Last Legend of Zelda game we got was Echoes of Wisdom. Yep, and that was only like 4 months ago. And it was a decent game. I think they should not remake these Pokemon games anymore. I don't necessarily think they need to stop remakes. I think they just need to rethink them and actually, you know, make good remakes. Because both Switch remakes for Let's Go and then the Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl were not the best. Specifically the latter. I mean, when it comes to Pokemon remakes, I still think that's Heart Gold, Soul Silver is the best ones. Yeah, that's easily the best remakes. They're really good. I had a good time with those games. Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl was just a complete remake of the original, and that's the problem. I think the point of a remake for me would be like, if you're gonna remake it, you know, you can take the original, but also take a look at what, you know, flaws the original had and improve upon it or expand upon it, which is what Heart Gold, Soul Silver did with Gold and Silver, while also incorporating some stuff from Crystal too, which is pretty cool. You ask me. But yeah, Oras as a remake should be. I'm still kind of in. I'm still not the biggest fan of Oras, but I'd probably say it's better than what we got on the Switch. I still say Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Fire Red and Leaf Green were actually pretty good too, for being remakes of the original ones and being really early remakes. Oh my gosh. I mean, we already got those remakes, like, and that was only a few years after, like, they came out, really. That was, like, what? They came out in, like, what, 2004 or something like that? So, for, like, people in America, that was only, like, a little over half a decade since they first started playing, so, like, yeah, those ones came out relatively fast. So, Heart Gold, Soul Silver came out, I think, 2010 or 11 or something like that. Somewhere time around then, I believe. I have to go look. But yeah, they were good. With Gen 5 remakes, they need to add new stuff to the story and new content added. Agreed. And just not be Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. I can understand being faithful, but yeah. Anywho, yeah. What was I gonna say? Okay, I'm looking at the time. It's been over an hour now. We're going on an hour and a half. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss with me, regardless of whether it's about this episode, next week's episode of Horizons, Or just anything in general. Got any thoughts for me? Still got 10 people here. Do me a favor if you haven't, hit that like button and also vote in the poll. Well, it's still up. We got 14 votes so far, so if you haven't liked the video or cast your vote, please do so now. I think Floragato will be evolving soon. I think so. There's a good possibility. A lot of people are saying that in the preview there's a little moment where it looks like Liko is reacting to something that might be Floragato's evolution. Oh, here we go again. Hot take. Kilowattrel and Hatterem are being used well. Great development, and sure, they can use more screen time, but at least they're better developed. At least they're better developed than Journey's mons. Oh. How do I think about that? I was gonna say the Journey's mons had some troubled development too. Specifically when Riolu showed up and kind of just stole the show from Gengar and Dragonite, for example. And then it itself disappeared for a little while. Though we did get some good development with Farfetch'd and Sirfetch'd. Could Floragato evolve in battling Gouging Fire? Okay. My two theories for that, if it's going to evolve here, it's either going to be against Gouging Fire or against Rayquaza. Those are the two possibilities, I think. This guy really thinks Wattrel and Hatterem are well developed. You could make a slight argument for Hatterem, but like I still think it doesn't really do anything now that it's evolved. Have you noticed that its screen time has really just evaporated since it evolved? I kind of don't know why this individual thinks that way, but oh well. Djokovic was done dirty in the series that shall not be named. I mean, they could have done more with him. I think it's probably Stellar Terra Trapagos and not Evo. Goes and Inteleon got bad treatment. Yeah. It got bad treatment when it was in its middle evolution. Specifically. Yeah. Basically what I just said. Yeah, we don't speak of Grookey. I feel like Hatterem shouldn't have evolved. It was a big part of Liko's development. Like, I think it should have evolved. It's just like I'm a little bit not as big of a fan of it. Just kind of just, you know, disappearing now because like it evolved and its development pretty much ceased. And it didn't really have a lot of development in the beginning either. It had a little bit, but yeah. What are your thoughts on something odd? Oh, do tell. He was just there to be cute and comic relief. Yep. Sounds about right. I'm very curious. Chloe Koharu's Yamper should have evolved. I was kind of hoping it would evolve, but yeah. It was pretty out most of the time. It just didn't battle, just being cute. Yeah. It did have some slight development here and there. It's just when it evolved, it kind of, can't fit into Liko's pouch anymore. So she just hangs out in the Pokeball now, and just will show up here and there. But hey, the second Pokemon did show up at the end of this episode. I mean, that counts for something, right? I just said earlier that, like, hey, even though they didn't participate in anything in the episode, it was nice that they were shown off here, because that's kind of what I want to see more of. Just have more of a presence, and not disappearing for like episode after episode. How do you feel about being a purist on subs versus dubs? Because lately there's a debate on how liking the dub of any show is wrong because it's insensitive to Japan, and we Americans should have to use the Japanese names, their understanding of language, and get their jokes. Okay, here's my thought on that whole thing. Okay, I mean, you guys probably already know that I prefer the subs for Pokemon over the dub. And I've been watching the subs for pretty much 10 years now. Over 10 years, honestly. Since the X and Y days. I don't think the dub is entirely bad. I do think some of the voice acting is good. I don't mind most of the voice acting, honestly, in Horizons, to be honest with you, for the dub. I thought they've done a pretty good job with that. My criticism mainly comes with how, like, Pokemon handles, like, the openings, endings, and the music. And maybe some, like, changes here and there that kind of bother me. That I kind of feel are unnecessary. That's kind of where my point in contention comes with the sub versus dub when it comes to Pokemon. But, like, when it comes to anime in general, I don't think it really, like, it comes to preference. For me, I'm kind of used to watching animes and subs nowadays. But sometimes I'll check out the dub. So, like, for me, I mean, there are some jokes that are kind of lost between, different cultures and languages and stuff like that. So, there might be certain animes that I would say maybe you should watch, both versions and kind of judge for yourself or whatever. There are some versions that, I feel are stronger or whatever, but, like, overall, like, I don't really have, like, the biggest issues. I mean, I think things are a lot better nowadays because, like, back in the day, a lot of the dubs just, like, changed dialogue and kind of just, went against the source material, if that makes sense. So, in those cases, clearly, I would say watch the subs because the dub is not fully, adapting it, to how it should be. I don't know if that makes sense. But, like, yeah. Things are a lot better nowadays. For sure. She should have caught a Galarian Ponyta. I agree on that one. That was a missed opportunity. Use the Japanese names and understand their language, get their jokes. Yep. Just went over that. I just prefer some of the Japanese names for the Pokemon characters now. Like, that's why I'm so used to calling, Sango, not Coral, even though it's, like, the same meaning. But I think Sango just sounds better to me. That just as an example. And then Chloe Koharu. I'm so used to Koharu versus Chloe. After Chloe got Eevee, Yamper disappeared, yeah. Weirdly, they shoved... She caught it in the magazine scan after the episode. They showed she caught it in the magazine scan after the episode. Yep. Oh, they should have Gigantamax. Yep. Some anime English dub, though, is so bad it's good. I'm thinking of one in particular. There's one particular one that the dub is actually better than the sub, but I can't remember the name. Personally, I don't get why it would be insensitive when people watch a dub. Like, this person gets so triggered whenever people use the English name for Pokemon characters. Oh, I do that. That's where Anipoke has some really weird people fandom-wise. There is someone that did that to me all the time. They'd show up in my videos. Whenever it's a Koharu, they'd be like, it's Chloe. Get it right. And I'm like, well, I watched the original version, and that's how I know her, so that's what I do. He kept doing that to me. He's like, that's wrong. I'm like, no, not really. In fact, it's the original name, so technically it is the correct version for being technical, but you can call her whatever you want. That's why I like you, Mitchell. You don't trash me for strictly the dub. I get Pokemon Origins from Japan, so I understand it. It takes time to be released. We're not far behind the dub compared to Japan. On February 7th, we'll be only 30 episodes behind Japan. Gotcha. Well, thank you. Well, see, I don't... Well, here's the thing, guys. Like, we all have our opinions and stuff like that, and, which is fine, but, like, there's no need to, like, you know, start fights with people, you know, over certain opinions and stuff like that, or, like, you know, insult people for having, you know, a certain opinion on something. Like, if someone's gonna watch the dub for Horizons, you know, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, you're just wrong. You know? Or, like, say something stupid like, oh, well, you're dumb. Sub all the way. No, I don't do that. Like, if that's your preference, go right ahead. I just encourage the sub for my reasonings, which is, you know, the music and, some slight changes the dub makes that I disagree with. I think the voice acting is fine for Horizons, for the dub for Horizons. And I like that the series is more faithful nowadays. I know some people kind of disagree with that because, you know, 4Kids had their own charm to Pokemon, which is, it's fine, it's fair, but there's also some changes they made that I disagree with. But hey, I think it's fine. I think you can watch Horizons however you want. I do have an issue with Netflix though, just because Netflix is just so far behind, unfortunately. Netflix and Pokemon haven't gone so well, in my opinion. But hey, what are we gonna do? People call him Ash over Satoshi. I mean, that's what people grew up with. I call him Ash too because that's, you know, what I grew up with. But Satoshi, his Japanese name has kind of grown on me over time since I've watched the sub. So sometimes I call him either or sometimes. All right, Sharon, have a good rest of the day. Yeah, that's why I like it here, because at least here things are reasonable. The 90% on Discord is literally just my way or the highway. Get ran over, you jerk. Well, I like to present my opinions. You guys already know my feelings on, like, the series, my feelings on the games, and, you know, my likes or dislikes for them. I kind of present it out here, and these are my opinions. Like, I don't expect people to come in here and just agree with whatever I say. But I'm not going to sit here and, like, start a fight with someone if they disagree with me, if that makes sense. Or just insult someone. There's no reason to do that, especially over a show. We can agree and disagree on certain things, but we don't have to, you know, cause a big fight, you know. I'm a man of peace, y'all. We can just hang out and chill. Onyx wasn't a smart name choice because we have Pokemon named Onyx. Sidon is not a bad name. They should have kept Agate's original name. Chalice isn't very pretty name. Just a weird to me. Yeah, I kind of see what you mean, but the Japanese side of things is not thinking, you know, of that. They're going by their own language, but it's not too, like, egregious in my opinion, but, you know, I get why they have those names though. It's a theming with their names. Netflix is so greedy, it's way worse in releases with Journey. It was way worse in releases with Journey's releases. It took twice the amount of the dub of Journey's. Yeah, I felt like we were getting close to catching up, but I just feel like we're farther behind. Other animes were just like way closer, but then again, a lot of other animes are seasonal, so it's kind of easier to, you know, pace their dubs or have it like only slightly behind. To be honest, I think this is the third arc this third arc has kind of been boring. I was gonna say, I think we're in the fourth arc. I don't know if I'd say it's boring, but I will say that I do think that overall this arc has been not as good as the previous one, if that makes sense. I think that when it comes to arc structures, I think that this is probably currently my second, maybe like my second least favorite arc so far. It's not done yet, so I can't fully judge it, but right now I'm sitting at like a 6 or 7 right now for it. I think that, like, I like the fact that we've gone back out and we're kind of going, you know, back to like how the series was, you know, versus Terrestrial Debut, which I think was like a nice training arc for the series, a very needed one. But like, I feel like this arc, I don't know how I feel exactly. I think the pacing has been kind of off, in my opinion, because like we like went to Kitakami, did that for a little bit. Now we left there, went to Johto for a few episodes, and now we're back in Paldea. So it's just like, whoa. I feel like we're getting a little bit of whiplash. So like, yeah, I'm kind of in the opinion like, we'll see how it ends. I feel like how it's going to end is going to depend on, you know, it's going to depend on how I feel how it ends. So we'll see. I do like certain things, like, you know, we got the finally know the whole deal with Lucius and Gibeon and stuff like that. I think that was good. But yeah. I was wondering if they would keep Coral Sango nickname was Sandwich in the dub. I was kind of hoping it would be Sandwich. I think Sandwich works so much better. Instead we got Cornbread, which I guess is kind of, you know, similar, but like Sandwich is just funnier to me. Isn't it Seasoning, I think, is his item, or his name? Because it's Onigi and the sub, so I went from that to Seasoning, so, interesting. Seasoning and Cornbread. I don't know, I like Sango / Coral's dub VA. The one in Japanese, though, she just nails it. And that's Pikachu's VA, though. So, makes sense that she would nail another character. She is definitely a pro at VAing, though. Lizzie Freeman does do a good job as Coral Sango, though. Not trying to diss her or anything, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like you got it's kind of hard to, you know, compare, you know. But yeah, not trying to diss one or the other, but yeah. Hopefully it didn't come off like that. Like I said all last night was I don't get the whole sub versus dub debates. The whole sub versus dub have pros and cons, and you get hit with, oh, you're just being insensitive and basically saying sub bad, dub good, you loser. Yeah, I don't think those debates are very productive because it just ends up just turning into insulting like that. So I wouldn't engage with that stuff personally. I feel like side on nickname will definitely change. I don't even watch the dub. They haven't released the dub. It will be on February 7th. I think the UK got the new batch recently. I think they get it first. So yeah, you gotta wait a few weeks for more episodes. See, I don't really care for that. I personally just rather have the episodes just air each week, personally. I kind of miss that. But, Dude, I lost track of time. And realized we're going on 2 hours now. Wow. Time flies. Anyways, yeah. If you haven't liked the video or stream, do so. Well, we have time. Let's see if we can get to... We have 2 more likes to 10. Can we do it? Though, if you already liked the video, then you've done your part already. If you haven't voted already in the poll, please do so. But we have time. Am I getting a telephone call? I am. Oh. Sorry, I got a random phone call. Kind of threw me off there. Well, I'll never go eat. Sorry for always venting on occasion about the anipoke fandom. Just so tired of grown adults getting mad about a TV kid show. Well, I'm going to eat is what you meant. I see. No, you're good. My advice once again is I wouldn't like engage really with those types just because it's just fight after fight. You can have like debates and stuff like that and disagreements, but it doesn't have to turn into like, you know, vicious fights, you know. Just chill. Like I said, I am a man of peace. I'm all about being peaceful up in here. I'm going to let you go, Mitchell. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You too, Kevin. Thanks again, guys, for joining. You and PokeFan. I appreciate it. It's always a productive conversation. And hope to see you in the next one, which will be literally in 1 week. Alright. Take care, guys. Have a good rest of the day. Enjoy your foods. Enjoy your weekends. Stay warm and stuff like that. Anywho, for me, it looks like we're kind of slowing down here. I know we still have a pretty decent amount of people here still. What's up, y'all? But I think we're going to wrap things up here. We kind of went a little bit longer than we usually do, but that's okay. Sometimes it's good to kind of chill out and just hang out and stuff like that, you know? That's what it's all about, right? Anywho, I guess we're going to bring the poll to a close now. We got 14 votes. 10, 9, 1 again. Alright, can we give this episode a 9 then? I liked it. It was pretty good. Sango is still the best explorer in my opinion. At least my favorite, my personal favorite. The little gremlin got a new gremlin as her partner Pokemon. So that was cool. Thanks for the hearts. Anyways, guys, we're going to wrap things up here. Next week, we're going to be doing some more Final Fantasy IX. Probably Monday and Wednesday doing streams for that. Don't know if we're going to have episode titles coming out next week, but if we do, I will probably report on them this time around since it'll pretty much be new information this time around. So, yeah. Also, I'm considering making a joke video here. We'll see. I haven't fully decided if I'm going to do it or not, but figured I'd maybe do something that's a little bit different than the norm. And I haven't done a joke video in a while, so just hopefully people don't scream at me for making it like they have in the past. But I guess it's YouTube, so you can't help it. So, anyways, I'm going to end off things here. So if you're still here, thank you so much for joining me. Have a good day or night where we're at, guys. And I will see you all in the next one. And later. Alright, bye, guys.